imagine that you are 155 million kilometers away on Mars, and you're on top of a mountain, and you're looking out over this plain. And this plain, it's just red rock and gravel and sand and dust, and it's just orange and red. And you're standing there, and there's no sound. There's no trees, but there's no insects, there's no birds, there's absolutely no sound at all. The only thing is just the wind. Every now and again, a gust of wind brings up a sound that you recognize. It's a kind of crunching sound, but it's recognizable. And you look down onto this plain, and you see this little moving thing down there. And go down to investigate. And as you get closer, the sound becomes more familiar and louder, and this thing turns out to be like a car. And it's just slowly moving, slowly crunching over this gravel. And that sound of that crunching gravel, the knowledge that that is happening right now on Mars, and there's nothing there to witness it. No bacteria, nothing. It's just that sound of crunching gravel, that very familiar human sound. 155 million kilometers away. I think it must be the loneliest image that I can imagine, certainly.
How do you not go crazy in the creative process? What keeps you, what sustains you, and what keeps you going?
I think, my love for mark making. I mean, literally I can feel the ink bleeding out of the pen. But I think that sometimes it does get crazy, and this is what I love. I'm only happy. In fact, the tension that I feel, the anxiety that I feel about my place in the universe is only alleviated when I'm working. I need to be doing this.
You also chose a particular kind of context for the images, which was the Origins Centre.
We judge early humanity by their ability and their willingness to make symbolic marks on walls, to make art. So to walk through that space at the beginning, to listen to the video, to watch how the earliest humans, it was important to them to represent their reality through mark making, shows how absolutely human, fundamentally human drawing is. It doesn't matter what else happens to art, there will always be drawing because it's what makes us human. So, and of course the Origins Centre is looking at the origins of humanity, and my work is constantly looking at the origins of life, the origins of the universe. So it's about taking that whole concept of origins and just looking at it in many different ways, because they are, and that is a very enriching experience. I think it's far more important to me that the mark-making process is impossible, and it's impossible because it needs to carry that metaphor of the impossibility of the universe that I'm describing. The distances between stars are impossible. The distances between our probes and the planets that we are measuring is ridiculous.
One of the first things you see as you enter that exhibition space is a piece of written work. How did that come about?
Yeah, an important part of the work is the short story by the UK writer Glasfurd-Brown. I approached her to write something for the show. And for me, it was important that I didn't want to approach a art writer who would then write about my work. What I wanted was some kind of aspect that would expand the show. And so I spoke to Guinevere, and she came back with this short story. And I thought, it had a huge impact on the way that the show was on many things. For example, the short story is called The Word for It. And it's set in a future where we've lost the ability to manufacture color. And the anxieties and frustrations that kind of go along with people trying to describe color and finding bits of plastic that are left over that have no name. What is this color of this plastic? And I think that idea of the impossibility of describing color and the kind of impossibilities I've already spoken about just were perfect. And I landed up in titling all my abstract paintings. They got the title, The Word for It. And that was directly from her story. And also the kind of curating of the show, I've got 12 small drawings, and the series is called Survey, small square drawings. So they kind of are the sciencey kind of, they look like they could be science kind of images from some scope that's measuring this or that. And what I've done is I've specifically broken up that series with these big paintings, meter by meter paintings called The Word for It, these completely abstract paintings, because you're looking at this survey, and then I want you to take a step back and ask yourself what about the impossibilities of what I'm looking at.
How do you see the difference in the role of the scientist in society as opposed to the role of the artist?
I'm not trying to, in this exhibition, put you in a coherent world, a coherent space. I do believe that it's, the artist's role is to imagine what can be possible. Science, it's incredible how far they can push those horizons of our knowledge, but it'll only ever be enough when I'm standing face to face with an extraterrestrial, and that's ridiculous.